Good morning everyone, and good evening for those of you who are further ashore in other parts of the world. So my name's Yarlini Sivanesan. I'm a transformational coach, and on my new program, Chain of Change, is going to be all about sharing various stories from women all over the world to be able to empower other women. So for other women who may be struggling or just going through really difficult times, for them to really understand that actually there are other people who've actually been through that situation and who've really been able to come out of that. And this is predominantly for women, where I'm going to be speaking to women, but it's not solely just for women. Obviously there are men who are going to go through various circumstances and situations as well, so it's not predominantly just for women, but I will be concentrating primarily with women and sharing my stories, my personal stories, as well as other women with their stories, and I will be interviewing some people. So today I have one guest later on today who I will be speaking to live, Merlin Danusha. I will be speaking to her live later on. So today what I would like to focus on is, first of all, I'd like to share some of my stories so that you can really get to know me a little bit better, and for you to really understand where my life has gone. Now, if you would have told me about 20 years ago that I would be sitting in front of a camera sharing my experiences, and some of my experiences which may be empowering other women right across the world, I probably would have laughed it off. I probably would have thought, what is it that I can say that would be able to help others? But actually, what I found is, over time, my experiences and some of my most difficult parts of my life, which I've had to endure, have actually lifted others now, and have actually helped others to really be able to help them in their situation. So I'm going to really take you back now 20 years ago, where I was very much a studious person, just solely only focused on my studies, and was at university studying my environmental science degree. And you know, I saw so many other girls who had boyfriends who ended up in tears, and I thought to myself, I really don't need any boyfriend in my life to be able to go through all this. But you know, you can never, you shouldn't be quick to judge, because you never know when you yourself may be in that situation. And within my third year at university, I met somebody and I fell in love. He was actually from the same religion as me. I primarily wanted someone from the same background as me, not because my parents had forced me into it or anything. They were very open and very liberal-minded about that. But it's just something I think I held on to, some of my culture and my traditions, and I really wanted to be able to instill that within my children in the future. So I felt that that's what I wanted. And I met him, dated him for 2 years, and it all seemed very hunky-dory. Introduced both our parents, introduced him to my parents, and I met his parents afterwards, because his parents were not in this country, in the UK, they were in India. Now, I myself being Sri Lankan, my parents wanted me to do the Hindu wedding as well as my civil wedding. Now, I had my civil wedding first here in the UK, and bearing in mind I dated him for 2 years. We had a fantastic, very low-key wedding, just with immediate friends and family, and it was a beautiful ceremony. And that evening, when my parents took me as part of the custom, to my new house with him, that evening I'm not quite sure why I said that, but I basically said we'd had lots of You know, we'd had champagne, we'd had, quite a lot to drink. And I said, should we just have a cup of tea and should we watch a nice movie together? And that was all it took. He took a beer bottle and smashed it and hit me. And even now, as I say it, I have shivers actually, because I can cast my mind back as if it's just happening now. And that was the shock of having known somebody for 2 years and haven't had any form of inkling or any form of idea that he was going to be that type of a person. And funnily enough, I'd even helped some of my friends who'd been through domestic abuse. So it's not like I was unaware of all that. I was very much aware. But actually, when you yourself are in that situation, everything just goes out the window. You are emotionally tied. You are emotionally bound. And when, you're in love with somebody, you're actually really in a deep place where you're struggling to get out. Now that one episode, I run upstairs and we'd only just moved in. I had picture of all my gods in the spare room. I basically fell on the floor and just prayed and just kept saying, why God, why me? I've just got married today, why me? And I kept thinking, maybe I shouldn't have asked that question. Maybe it was just silly for me. But that's what you do, right? You make excuses. So for those of you who've been in that situation, you will exactly understand what I'm talking about. When I say that you make excuses, you say that maybe I shouldn't have said that, maybe I shouldn't have provoked him. But actually that was the first in a whole line of me being battered every single day. I struggled for 2 years. I was very much a sociable person, very much who went to family events. I began to slowly isolate myself from my friends, from my family, and really began to do a lot of cover-up. So I had a fantastic job, which is, to be honest, that was my saviour. That was what pulled me together. So I was almost living 2 lives. I was struggling every day at home. I put on a different, almost a different cover, and just basically went to work and just, because I didn't want people feeling sorry for me. I didn't want anybody to know. But then the moment I got in the car to drive home, I was in floods of tears. I was in fear of my own life. I didn't know what that evening was going to be in store for me. I didn't know what was going to happen. Every day I lived my life in fear. Every single day. And for those of you who are looking at from the outside, looking inwards, and as I say, I've been there when I used to help my friends out of it. The first thing you'd say is, come on, get out. Why would you put yourself in that situation? But it is so hard, because it's the emotional side of things which really, really, bring you down. It's almost like you have big rocks on the back of you with ropes, and they are just pulling you back. And it's not, as I say, it's not because I wasn't aware. I was fully aware of what was happening. But I was so much in love with him, so deeply in love with him, that I kept making excuses. I kept feeling that maybe I could change him. Maybe he wasn't really a bad person. Maybe there was something beneath that was provoking him to do that. Maybe I shouldn't have said this. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I kept making excuses. I was in hospital many times, and even then nothing happened for me to change, for me to be able to really stand up to him or say anything. Yeah, I was just almost really subservient. I was in fear of my life. And I would really look forward to that one evening that we would have on our own, where he wouldn't be working. So as I came home from work, he would be going out to work, because our shifts were just like that. But that one day I would finish work and I couldn't wait to spend time with him, because that's how much I was in love with him. But actually I'd cook a really nice meal, only for that to be thrown and to be battered again. Now, there were a few things which really changed me, and one of the, I suppose, most difficult things for me was when a family member came to stay and I was giving them a lift, and the next morning when they went to get their bag out the car, they noticed on the side of my face I was completely battered on that side. And they gave me an ultimatum: either I tell my family or they were going to do that. I didn't want them to be able to be the ones to tell my parents. I wanted to do that myself. Yet I was so scared, because I fell in love with him. It was a love marriage. It wasn't like it was an arranged marriage. So I felt guilty. I felt like it was my fault, because I decided to marry him and my parents wouldn't quite understand. And I couldn't do it face to face. That's how frightened I was. So I picked up the phone and I made that call. And actually, that actually was really surprising for me, because my dad actually did not speak to me like I thought he would. He listened. He said to me, I could bring you back right now. I could come in the car, pick you up and bring you now, so that you're safe at home with us. But if I did that, I know that tomorrow or within a couple of days you would go back to him, because you're so much in love with him. And the only day that I want you to come here is the day that you finally decide to do it for yourself. Not because I've brought you back, because you yourself have realized what's happening to you. You yourself want to come out of that relationship. And all he said to me was, be safe, keep your phone underneath your pillow, and don't be afraid to call the police. And you know, sometimes that's all it requires, that little bit of nudge from somebody else. And that must have been such a hard thing for my father to say, and for someone who, you know, was quite strict within my upbringing. It must have been such a difficult thing for him to say, knowing that his daughter was being hurt. But it was about me finding myself, about me really being able to let go myself, to free myself. And that little bit of nudge from him actually helped me, because from then on I began to have the confidence to literally call the police. I remember once where I was downstairs, I didn't have my phone with me, there was a blazing row again, where he was just, you know, I was pushed into the corner, being hurt, and suddenly I picked up the phone, the landline, and I dialed the 999 for the police. And what I found was, even though he pulled the socket out, and I thought, oh my goodness, what's going to happen now? Because I'd call the police, he's going to be even more angry with me, which is how he was, until there was a knock at the door. But then things had shifted. He blamed me. He said it was my fault. And yes, the police could see it right through it. But I called them time and time again, because once you have the courage to do so once, you do it again and you do it again. So I had the confidence, I had the courage just to pick up the phone to call the police. But you almost need someone to say, don't worry, it's going to be okay. You are going to be able to get out, let's help you. But that wasn't what I had. The police wanted me to prosecute, and when you're so much in love with someone, what you don't want to do is you don't want to hurt that person. It is so difficult to put that person, for me personally, it was very difficult for me to do that. And I was very much crying out for help. I was speaking to his friends, his family, about what was happening, because I wanted to be with him. But no one could see that he was like that, because on the outside he was a very nice person. He was just very lovely to everyone, helping his family, doing everything. But behind closed doors, my story was different. My life was different. Now, I'm going to tell you the turning point which made me leave. We struggled on for 2 years. And 2 years may not seem a long time for you, but when you've been hurt every single day, it's a long time. Because you emotionally become really weak. I physically became really weak. I had chronic fatigue, and I was really in a difficult place and just finding things really difficult to deal with. But I was trying to get through it, and I desperately wanted things to work out. And for those of you who would definitely remember the September the 11th attacks in America, it was that year, the August bank holiday weekend in the UK, where I said to him, let's go away for the weekend, let's sort this out once and for all. He wasn't very keen, and with a bit of persuasion from my parents, he reluctantly agreed to go. Now, for those of you obviously who aren't in the UK, you may not be aware, but Blackpool is actually quite far from London, and he actually made me drive all the way without stopping at all. And if I did, then it was almost like a threat. And so I kept my word, because I really wanted him to go. And when we got there, we went for a walk. There's all these spectacular rides, scary rides, and I said, I'm going to go on one of those tomorrow. And he said, okay, I'm not going to go. And I said, that's fine, you don't have to come with me, you can stand down there and watch. And decided to have a bit of a rest, and I had to quickly book a bed and breakfast because I didn't know if he was going to turn up. So I had a bit of a rest, we went for dinner. That was the first time in 2 years I felt like I got through to him. He admitted we couldn't go on like this. He said he didn't want his life like this either, and he really loved me and he wanted things to change. And I thought, maybe I've got through, maybe things are going to be different. It was the first time we had just a really nice meal together without any argument, without him hurting me, nothing. And it was just so lovely. And actually I used to work in the world of transport. So my work was very much about walking, cycling, public transport. I'd never been on a tram before. And on the way back, for those of you who do know, Blackpool has got lots of trams there. It's got a tram system. And I said to him, should we get on the tram on the way back, because I've never been on one. So it was 11:30 that evening, and all I remember is standing at the tram stop. After that, I don't know what happened, and neither does he. So you just imagine, 11:30, I was standing at the tram stop. The next thing I knew, I was waking up on the tracks. Now I'm quite a small person, I'm only 4'11". So I just about fitted in between the tracks. Long ways. And literally as I opened my eyes, the tram was stopping above me. Within seconds, I would say. And it's just as well, because the initial reaction would be to move to get out. But what I'd realised was, within seconds as the tram stopped, I'd realised that the whole of the tram had actually gone over me, and I was actually on the tracks. Now as I saw in the distance some of the pier, some of the lights, I rolled out, and then I was unconscious. And then as I came out of consciousness, I could see police, ambulance, you name it. And all I could say was, where's my husband, where is he? And they said, we're trying to find him. Now he was further down the track. Now, even now, you'll notice I have some marks there. These are my friction marks from I don't know how I got there, as I say, from being on the tracks. Now, in hospital, they told me that you have a blackout, obviously, when things like this happen. Now, unfortunately for him, he was in hospital for 6 months for skin grafting, and he lost the 3 middle fingers, so his right hand is like this now. And some people were being very cruel, saying, you know, maybe because you hurt your wife, maybe, you know, you've been punished. And even then I was saying that that's really not a very nice thing to say, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone. And when he came out of hospital, I was blamed because I was the one who decided to go there. And, you know, within a split second I would replace, you know, take his place, so that he wouldn't have to suffer like that. But for a moment I thought to myself, actually things might change, our relationship may change, we might be okay now, because surely he's going to need my help, he's not going to treat me like that. But actually, who was I kidding? Once somebody's like that, unless they get help and they admit to themselves what they're doing, they are always going to be like that. And he didn't change, he continued to hit me. And from then on, I thought enough was enough. If he could hit me with one hand, I don't know where I would end up. I would be dead one day. And so I decided to pack my bags and get out. And that is just a very quick snapshot of my life, how I went from fear to freedom. And it took me 7 long years to really emotionally get through all of what I did, because I had flashbacks, I had, you know, fear inside. It took me a long time to really rebuild myself, to build my confidence. So, as I say, that's just a quick snapshot as to how I went from fear to freedom. Now we're going to take a break, and after that I'm going to be speaking to somebody else who is going to actually share her experience and her story, and just how there are so many women out there who are really struggling in the same situation. And that is one of the reasons I have become a coach, and that's one of the reasons I'm on a mission to empower as many women as possible out there, because I know that there's so many women right across the world who are struggling. But in particular, I also know that I was fearful of society, as to what society was going to think of me. You know, I was going to be a divorced person, I was separated first and then I was divorced. What was society going to think of me? What were family going to think of me? But I had to put that to one side. And bearing in mind, you know, culture, tradition meant a lot to me. And yes, there were people who spoke, but you know what? Were any of them there to help me when I was suffering behind closed doors? No. And so it really just shows how much, doesn't matter, you know, as I say, I was very much in the know. It's not like I was very naive, I didn't know about it, but I was aware about obviously domestic violence and how that could hurt women. But it doesn't matter how much you know, what knowledge you have. Ultimately it comes down to, when you're in that situation, being able to get out. All you want is somebody to say, you know, I've been there, you can speak out, I'm here for you. And that is exactly what I'm saying to every single one of you who are struggling out there. I am here for you. So, on that note, we're going to be taking a break, and I'm really excited to be speaking to somebody else who I've been in contact with recently, who's really been in connection with me through my sharing my story on Facebook. She actually came out and really connected with me, So we're going to be hearing about her story. So I hope you'll all join me straight after the break.
Cool Cakes Bakery of Kingsbury and Heston have now opened a new branch in North Harrow. Specialist in egg and eggless cakes, and now no added sugar cakes for birthdays, weddings, anniversaries and all special occasions. Our cakes contain no animal fat. Come and experience our delights at 547 Pinner Road, Harrow, HA26EQ. Call 0208 427 990. That's 0208 427 990. Or log on to coolcakes.co.uk. That's cool with a K, to design and order your cakes online. Cool Cakes, the masters of cakes.
क्या आप वक्त को अपनी नजरों के सामने गुजरते हुए देखते हुए परेशान हैं? क्या आपके पास कोई ऐसे सवाल है जिनका आपके पास जवाब मौजूद नहीं है, या आप ऐसा वक्त गुजारना चाहते हैं जहां पे आपको जिंदगी का नजरिया अलग अलग तरीके से देखने को मिले? तो घबराइए मत, क्योंकि हम आ रहे हैं एवरी ट्यूसडे टू थर्सडे बिटवीन 10 AM and 11 AM ओनली ऑन साउथहॉल TV ऑन आवर वेरी ओन शो उठो जागो जियो, यानी कि वेक अप, गेट अप एंड लिव अप विद सिडो जाफरी, जहां पे हर ट्यूसडे को हम टाइम और अबंडेंस पे बात करेंगे, हर वेडनेसडे को हम पावर और ब्यूटी, और हर थर्सडे लव एंड हीलिंग. Every week we come together with our guests, providing you creative, constructive and nourishing solutions for your life. So get up and subscribe to southaltv.com so you never miss another episode of Utho Jago Jio with Sidhu Jaffrey. Welcome to the School of Awakening. My name is Sidhu Jaffrey and I'm the founder for the school. What would your life look like if you were truly living abundantly? How much would abundance really change your day-to-day life? What if there was a way to attract abundance whilst doing what you love to do? Here at SOA, we are getting ready to answer all these questions and many more at our most exciting abundance portal yet, where we will be live streaming for 2 days online live on the 9th and 10th of September, where you will receive the latest information on consciousness and how to live abundantly whilst releasing all the past trauma around money, scarcity and loss. Remember, great destiny doesn't happen by chance. It happens by making the decision and joining us at the Abundance Portal. So don't delay and book your spot now, as it is on the first come and first served basis. I look forward to connecting with you in an abundant life.
Hi, I'm Rani. I will be joining you every Tuesday and Friday at 7 PM with a unique talk show where we will be discussing community matters and the matters that matter to you. So don't forget to tune into New Day, New Life at southaltv.com.
Hi there everyone, welcome back to Chain of Change by Yarlini Sivanesan. So I hope you all enjoyed, or I suppose it's not, it's not like you're going to enjoy obviously what I went through, but I hope you really you were able to get a feel for my story and where I was 20 years ago. And as I say, 20 years is a long time. I mean, now I'm in a different place, remarried with 2 beautiful kids, and that's why I'm really pushing to be able to help others and other women out there. So if any of you out there are going through difficult times, whatever it may be, it may not just be domestic abuse, it could be anything out there, do not feel you're alone. And especially, I know within Asian societies, one of the things that we do very well is keeping everything hidden, not about speaking out and really sharing our stories, because it's seen a bit, it's seen very much like a taboo, that that you shouldn't really do that because it's not the right thing to do. But I'm really looking at breaking those stigmas, breaking those barriers and breaking those blocks so that people are able to share what they're going through. And because through sharing we're going to be able to help more and more people out there, whether you're a man, woman, or even if you're children. Okay, I'm even helping my children at a young age to be able to openly speak about your feelings as opposed to keeping it hidden, and that can massively impact your relationships, because I know even from a young age I was very much about keeping everything hidden, not talking about it, and that was very much about how I was brought up, about not speaking out about it. And that's just, you know, some of the communities in which we live in. I know that's what it's like, and I'm not saying that you need to be brash about it or you need to go against your communities or anything. All I'm saying is that by all of us being there for each other, we can only do that if people begin to speak out, and we cannot do that if people are struggling behind closed doors because they're too afraid to be able to reach out. So it's up to us to really look out for signals, to really be able to look out for our neighbours, look out for our friends, look out for our families, and really be able to let them know almost that it's okay if you're going through anything to share. Because immediately when people put up barriers and say, oh, so-and-so's doing this, oh, they shouldn't be talking about this, other people are not going to feel confident enough to talk about their issues. And that is something I feel very strongly about, having been through what I have. And I'm empowering other women to really be able to speak out as well. And so I'm really excited to really be able to speak to somebody else who has really who's been through her journey as well. And I know that those of you who may be going through similar circumstances, or even if you've been through something and you've come out, we'd love to hear about it. So get in touch with us here at Southall TV, because we'd love to hear about your experiences. Like myself, perhaps you've been through something and you've come out the other end. There are other women you can empower just by doing that. So please do send me an email or get in touch with Southall TV, and I would love to hear about it. And perhaps, you know, I am every week I'm going to be speaking to various people live, and perhaps you could be one of those people who could join me live. All right, so I know that I've got quite a few comments and shares here, so it's lovely to hear to see as many of you as I can who are on Facebook. So please do join me on Facebook, on Yarlini Sivanesan and Southall TV, so you can watch me live via Facebook, and there are other social media forms as well in which you can watch. So please do put your comments there, and you know, love to hear about your stories as well. Okay, so today is about domestic abuse, domestic violence. However, I will be looking at various other issues each week. Okay, so it could be about depression, it could be about self-belief, it could be about fear. So we will look at various issues each week. Okay, and depending on what stories you've got to bring, then I will slot that in according to which week I feel that's most appropriate. So I'm really looking forward to welcoming you on my journey within this show, so that we can really be able to empower other people out there. Through our stories, there's a power of being able to connect with others, and that's something I have found. Just through my story alone, I've been able to empower at least 5,000 people. And initially I was thinking I'll just try and help at least, or empower at least about 100 people. And I've been blown away with the support, with the amount of public, I suppose, support out there. And so right now what we're going to do is we are going to speak to my guest for today, who is Merlin Danusha, and I'm going to be speaking to her about her journey. So welcome, Merlin.
Hi, welcome, Yarlini. It's Merlin
Hi.
here. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, by God's grace. Yes, I'm fine. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Sorry.
Thank you very much for coming on the show today.
You're welcome. I'm very, very happy and very pleased to be there.
Thank you. And I know just as we've had our discussions in the past after I've connected with my story, and I know in the past you're very much about wanting to help others as well and helping other women through your story. So I'm gonna pass it over to you because I'd like you to share your story now, Danusha, and then I'll speak to you with a few questions which I've got really afterwards. So I'm gonna hand it over to you for you to share your story.
Yeah, that's marvelous. That's absolutely lovely to hear from you, and I'm very pleased to share my story. My story starts with a love marriage in a country called Sri Lanka, and from Sri Lanka there is a small island called from Jaffna, where I was fall in love with my partner for the past 15 years. Then I came down he sponsored me. I came here into this country. I've been living here for past more than 20 years now. And, well, it was a tragic, which is very sympathetic way also. But I'm very pleased that I'm out of it now. But I really wanted to help and support most of all the women who is literally going through the same thing, don't want to come out of it, and those who are with children still struggling. They don't want to show to their children, but they are implementing their children to go through the same thing, which I really feel so sorry for Asian community, specifically going through all these things. So, well, I've been in love for so many years, and then he sponsored me, and I was here with him. Well, as normal, all men do flirt, all men do stuff, all women do. It's not just men, women do as well. No one is perfect, but he never realized it, that he has fallen in something that he should not, and he has a wife and his kid as well at the moment. But saying that, for me, it was something, my children and myself, I have 2 children for myself, 1 boy and a girl, and we've been going through like nothing, like no one could imagine what I've been through. So it's domestic violence, depression, so on. It's so many. Where I was thinking and struggling how I could support my children, how I can come out. How am I going to come out? In which way I will get help? If I tell my story, is there anybody around to help me out? Can I reach them? If I reach them, will I be hurt? Will he hurt me? If he hurt me,
Merlin,
what is going to be coming through?
Merlin,
so all these things are there for me.
Merlin, I just want to ask you on that point. What was it that you were so afraid of? What was your fear at that time?
Because you are so much in love with your partner, you just don't feel like putting him in danger, and let the society know he have hurt you, and let your parents and your relatives know, oh, he is hurting my daughter, oh, he is hurting my sister. What is going to be? Oh no! And then as actual gossip, the gossip complies into 3 various varieties and things like that, and it goes on for in 3 parts of ways. And somebody gives a call to you, and then they came, are you okay? Then they start like, are you okay? And then the story starts like, are you okay with him? Is he all right? Is he feeling better? You all right? And I was like, why don't you, without touching the nose around the corner, why don't you ask me straight away and come out and ask me, what, are you okay? Properly, look at my face, look at my eyes. Do I look okay?
Did you find that because obviously you had children? I mean, I didn't have
Yes.
children within my relationship, so to be honest, it was. I mean, obviously, it was still difficult for me to get out as it was, but obviously, when you have children, it's a whole different dynamics, you know, within the situation. And was that even more pressure for you, you know, to be able to, as to what, you know, as to do the right thing, or which way to go? Did you struggle with that decision?
Obviously, yes, because I have to leave my children for 7 months with my ex.
Right.
And I have to, it was a very hard decision for me because I have to go to the police and so on. And after in 2010, I have to leave my children. After the court's decision, I have to leave my kids for 7 months, depending on my ex. Though I know he is not going to look after him that much, but I have to let him and the children to know him as well as a father. I want the children to know him as well. Yeah. So in the meantime, I was putting my children in a position where they should not feel they are not looked into, but I have to work to gain money and also to support my kids' fear to go out of them, and to get to know their dad, and to get to know how he is going to deal with those two children. So I'm giving the priorities for the father figure to understand his role, and for him to understand the kids as well. So those two things were in my mind. Although I have so many friends around the house to look into the property and look into my kids' daily basis, how they are going on or coming out or things like that. But I want to make sure the father figure do look after the children, do look after them in a right manner and a right way, how they are dealing with their dad. So I gave all these two priorities, and my partner also was willing to let me out of the house to go for work. So he will also have an intimidation with the children. So I was quite okay with that. So I went out. I was living in South London, and I was working in Hounslow for childcare nursery. And it was something, because I work for children, and I've been one-to-one for the children, and it was an awesome feeling. And you want to go on a weekend. I tend to go for a weekend. Every Friday I tend to take a train to go from Southall, then back to Swindon. So which was amazing, but at the meantime, I have the enjoyment of, this weekend I'm going to go and see my child. And they are my kids. I want to go and do what I should do. So the weekends are like priorities for me to go and give them food, make sure I feed them, make sure I do their ironing, everything done perfectly fine. The kids are looked into. But as soon as I head into the house, I feel the fear in their eyes. Their eyes shows me how fear they were like. They were, Mommy, are you going to stay home? Mommy, are you going to be with us? Oh no, I don't want you to go for work. I want you to be with me. That really breaks me into so many pieces. Like, you know, when a little one, a 5-year-old, comes to you and tell you, why don't you be with us, Mommy? Why are you going for work? Why don't you be with me? That really broke my heart. But I can't tell my feelings to that child, but I'm going through. So I have to be the person who has to come out, first of all, to gain the strength, to gain the understanding that I can do it for you for the better. So that 7 months was amazing that for me to get through it.
How much negativity did you
Negativity-wise, it was something,
like,
oh my God, that was something very stressful.
Did you have negativity from society, when you made that decision to leave?
It came straight from my family. It came straight from my relatives. It came straight from whoever who is in a very good family issues within themselves. They say, oh, why do you want to leave your family? Why do you want to leave them and come? You stupid. Why are you doing this to yourself? They really don't know behind my back what was going on. They don't understand.
Did you have any support from anybody?
I did get my support from my family, my friends, my colleagues were so beautiful. I would really appreciate to tell two people's name. One was Priyanti Shanmugam, who is working in Qatar. She works in British Airways. She came through the same thing, and she was marvelous. She was from the bottom up to now. She is one person who had been holding me up to now. And not only that, Yarlini Joseph, who had been praying for me, guiding me as well at the meantime, and my cousin brother, who is in at the moment he's in holiday now. He is in Burnt Island in Scotland. He also helped me, and my sisters were marvelous with me. My sisters were like my thrones.
That's great.
Both were thrones, like Lydia Gunaratnam and Karen Gunaratnam were my thrones. Like, you know, whatever happened to you, sister, make sure you look after your little ones. We are there for you.
Yeah.
So my dad and mom was like,
I think
whatever happens, it happens.
I think that's really important to have. Obviously, if you have at least some support that can really help you to get out. And, you know, there are, you know, I had support from my family as well. There were people around me who were speaking, but I had support. And, you know, there may be others who may not be as lucky as us, who may not have that support even, and they would be struggling to even get out because they don't have any support. And, you know, it's very much for, you know, especially for those who have nobody, you know, have no support. You know, that's why we're sharing our stories, to be able to reach out, to be able to get them to come forward. And once they make that connection, then at least they've made that first step. Because did you not find, because I did, Merlin, that once you take that first step, then actually taking the next step and the next step just seems a little bit easier. You know, it's always the taking that first step, which is always so hard.
True.
And how do you feel now when you're sort of looking back to however many years ago that was? How do you feel now, where you are now?
It was amazing feeling, amazing. How do I say, like, it looks like a dream for me now.
Yeah.
It is something, a dream that, you know, you have come out of everything and you really feel for yourself.
Yeah.
You are you now. And you are not somebody else.
Exactly.
And you feel for yourself. And I should thank my work colleagues. Oh my goodness. They've been up to there for me all the time.
Yeah,
even when I left my job and I came back, and the lady who owns the company she was tremendously helping me. The people who are around me still, they know me as who I am, like, you know, Merlin, this is not you, this is you. This is how you do stuff.
Now, it's great to have that, you know, it's great to have that support. And I think, you know, when you look back, and certainly even for me, when I look back, it is like a story. I can't even believe that I got through it. I can't even believe that happened to me, because to every single day, I just did, you know, even when I was sharing my story before the break, I could feel everywhere in my body as if I was there still, you know, and I could straight away put myself in that situation, and so I can feel it within my body. I
know.
You know, and you almost think, how did I get out of that? That is just, it is just, I feel amazing, the fact that I have got through it. And it's that feeling of feeling amazing when you've come so far forward and you're just in a completely different place because you're happier. You don't have to be scared every single minute as to what's happening, and not having to look over your shoulders as to what's happening, and just being free. That freedom in itself, and being free without fear, it speaks volumes. And that is what I want other people, other listeners out there, for those of you who may be living in fear, and who may be, you know, for whatever reason. There could be all sorts of reasons. It may not just be domestic abuse, but, you know, that is one of the subjects we're talking about today. But whatever situation you're in, you know, you are not alone. There are people out there who can help you. And get in touch, you know, Southall TV, get in touch. My email's on there.
Please do.
And get in touch.
I would really happy to do the same thing. Please do contact Yarlini. Please do contact me if you want me to. Anybody around you are very much helpful, very much well-being to help you out throughout the days.
Yeah.
It's just about not just you.
Exactly.
It's about your kids. It's about your future, for your kids' future mainly.
Exactly.
So think about
we
it.
are, you know, we are just 2 people out of thousands out there, unfortunately, who do go through this situation. And, you know, if we can sort of come out and be where we are today, that just speaks volumes for others that, you know, there is a way forward. There is another way in which you can live your life. And I'm just going to give out that number for those of you who, you know, and I will repeat the number later on. So that number is 0208 707 3227. So if you want to get in touch, it's 0208 707 3227. And for those of you who would like to email me direct and email Southall TV, it is Chain of Change. There is no gap in between. Chain of Change at southalltv.com. So that's Chain of Change at southalltv.com. Okay, and for those of you who have been through experiences and who have come out, you can also email me, because I am actually going to be looking at a variety of people. Like Merlin's come on today, I'm going to be looking at a variety of people for coming on and sharing their experiences so that we can empower others. And I just want to say, Merlin, you know, like, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I know that, you know, from where you were, how much of a struggle and how difficult that was for you, and especially with children, you know, how frightening that was. And just knowing that when you have 2 young children, that you feel that responsibility, you know, you feel that everything's on your shoulders because you have 2 little children who desperately need your help. And so, like, I can't even imagine, because for me it was just myself I had to think of, but if I had children as well, goodness, it would just break my heart. So I can just only imagine how it must have been for you. But, you know, you should be so proud of yourself as to where you are today.
I'm very well, Yarlini.
Exactly.
Thank you ever
you should
so
be
much.
Proud as to where you are today. And, you know, thank you so much for coming on today and for sharing
it's a pleasure,
your story.
Honey. Anytime,
and,
anytime. I'm
you know,
fine.
It's
Let me
like
know.
you that we
I'll be
need.
happy to help you out and help others too. That's not a problem at all.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers.
And it's just people
Thank
like
you
you that we need to come forward just to share our experiences, because by sharing, actually, what we can do is we can actually help others out there. All right, so I really would welcome you to either come forward if you have experiences to share, or if you yourself are going through a particular situation, please do. You know, just I have the telephone number again, 0208 707 3227. And don't be afraid, because, you know, if you call up, then, you know, you can get in contact with me direct, and I will be able to, obviously, having been through that, or if you've been through some other situation, you know, I help thousands of women every day from a variety of different issues, and I'll be able to help you going forward, because for me it's about helping you to live the life that you deserve to lead. Every single one of you, you deserve to lead what we should all have within our life. And for me, one of the reasons I've wanted to share my story, and I have done on Facebook, and now I'm taking it to a completely different level, is because I want to be able to break the stigmas out there. I want to be able to break some of the, you know, some of the taboos out there that we shouldn't share, that we should stay behind closed doors. Okay, and you know, in weeks to come I will be talking about depression, which is something else which I have been through, which, you know, is very much a taboo. You don't talk about that, you keep it behind closed doors. By keeping it behind closed doors, what is it that you're going to achieve? What is it that you feel that you're going to achieve by that? Do you not feel alone just by doing that? Do you not feel that you're cut out from the world? Do you not feel that you're actually suffering in silence? Because that is exactly how one feels. Now I'm just going to have a look at who's online. at the moment. I know we've got various people who are currently online who are sharing, who are actually sharing, which is fantastic. So keep sharing, guys, because really do appreciate you guys sharing it. So keep sharing the live video, and also, you know, tag anyone in who you feel could this could actually help, because you may know people who may be going through something, but they may not want to you know, seek that support, but maybe if they watched, you know, today's episode, it may help them. So please do, you know, tag your friends in, and please do share. So what I want to do is I'm just going to share with you. I'm also a poet, actually a writer, and throughout my difficult period within my life, one of the things that I actually resorted to, you know, some people actually end up drinking, some people end up taking drugs, some people write, some people draw. Everyone has a different way of escapism, and my form of escapism was writing. And I have over 100 poems, so if you're lucky, you will get one poem every time I come on. Okay, so I'm going to share with you one of my poems which I wrote when I was going through that difficult period in my life, when I was enduring abuse, and that was such a difficult time for me. So I'm just going to just get my poem up. Bear with me. Okay, I'm unable to get it up at the moment, so don't worry. So I'll get the poem for you next week. Okay, so I just want to share with you that when we're going through various things, like going through fear, and we don't want to actually we don't want to come out of that, and we don't want to talk about that and speak up. One of the things we need to be mindful of is the more that we suppress our feelings, and the more that we hold off, the more that we're going to be alone. And so you want to be careful of isolating yourself and really taking yourself back and just being alone. Just make sure that you are aware. Okay, and today's episode is a testament of that, of two people. We're just two ordinary people who have come out of really difficult situations, and you too can do the same. Okay, so I would like every single one of you to, if you know anyone, just reach out and make them aware that they're not alone. And if you do know someone who requires help, please do, you know, pass on my number, pass on Southall TV. Get them to get in touch, because there's people here who can help you. Okay, there's a way forward for you. And you're going to be able to, you know, be in a different place. Like, if someone would have told me, had I have had a coach at that point, and someone say to me, you know, I can hold your hand, I can help you through, it wouldn't have taken me 7 years to get through it. Okay, so you too can cut out years and years of rebuilding your life and getting to where I am now, which is in a happier environment, in a happier place, just living my life. And that's where I want every single one of you to be too. So if just take your life in your hands, but use it in the right way. So thank you all so much for watching today's episode, Chain of Change. And I welcome you all to join me next week. I'll be on every Friday between 11 to 12 GMTV time. So join me next week, Chain of Change, every Friday. Thank you very much for watching.
Cool Cakes Bakery of Kingsbury and Heston have now opened a new branch in North Harrow. Specialist in egg and eggless cakes, and now no added sugar cakes for birthdays, weddings, anniversaries and all special occasions. Our cakes contain no animal fat. Come and experience our delights at 547 Pinner Road, Harrow, HA26EQ. Call 0208 427 990. That's 0208 427 990. Or log on to coolcakes.co.uk. That's cool with a K, to design and order your cakes online. Cool Cakes, the masters of cakes.
क्या आप वक्त को अपनी नजरों के सामने गुजरते हुए देखते हुए परेशान हैं? क्या आपके पास कोई ऐसे सवाल है जिनका आपके पास जवाब मौजूद नहीं है, या आप ऐसा वक्त गुजारना चाहते हैं जहां पे आपको जिंदगी का नजरिया अलग अलग तरीके से देखने को मिले? तो घबराइए मत, क्योंकि हम आ रहे हैं एवरी ट्यूसडे टू थर्सडे बिटवीन 10 AM and 11 AM ओनली ऑन Southall TV ऑन आवर वेरी ओन शो उठो जागो जियो, यानी कि वेक अप, गेट अप एंड लिव अप विद सिडो जाफरी, जहां पे हर ट्यूसडे को हम टाइम और अबंडेंस पे बात करेंगे, हर वेडनेसडे को हम पावर और ब्यूटी, और हर थर्सडे लव एंड हीलिंग. Every week we come together with our guests, providing you creative, constructive and nourishing solutions for your life. So get up and subscribe to southaltv.com so you never miss another episode of Utho Jago Jio with Sidhu Jaffrey.
Welcome to the School of Awakening. My name is Sidhu Jaffrey and I'm the founder for the school. What would your life look like if you were truly living abundantly? How much would abundance really change your day-to-day life? What if there was a way to attract abundance whilst doing what you love to do? Here at SOA, we are getting ready to answer all these questions and many more at our most exciting abundance portal yet, where we will be live streaming for 2 days online live on the 9th and 10th of September, where you will receive the latest information on consciousness and how to live abundantly whilst releasing all the past trauma around money, scarcity and loss. Remember, great destiny doesn't happen by chance. It happens by making a decision and joining us at the Abundance Portal. So don't delay and book your spot now, as it is on the first come and first served basis. I look forward to connecting with you in an abundant life.
Hi, I'm Rani. I will be joining you every Tuesday and Friday at 7 PM with a unique talk show where we will be discussing community matters and the matters that matter to you. So don't forget to tune into New Day, New Life at southaltv.com.